I really would love to know what it feels like heading an organization as the NSC as its first female DG.
It is actually a very, very interesting experience, because it's not that being a DG is it's different from being a head of any organization, but the shipping sector is predominantly male, as you know, and it's an area that I walked into without realizing what I didn't know what to expect. But so far, I must say I have learned a lot. It's been extremely interesting and eye-opening. So it's been good for me so far.
Okay, in my quests for wanting to know so much about you, the things that you have achieved, I gathered that you lost your medical doctor father at 13.
Yes.
That must have been a lot of, it must have opened your eyes to a lot of things.
Yes, it was a rude shock. I was in school and I was actually taking exams, Queen's School, Enugu, in I think it was 67, and we came and I was taken home and my father passed on. So I grew up very quickly, you know. At 13, I grew up because my mother learned to depend a lot on my friendship and my support. Of course, she had other people, but I had to grow up early. I had other 4 siblings, so I became my mother's sort of best friend.
Okay, you had a medical doctor father and a teacher mother, if I'm correct. For you, education is something you were born into, you were born with. Do you see the Nigerian girl child getting what she deserves in that area?
You know, I would say maybe in the past, but now I don't know what is happening. It's quite frightening, but I want to think positively. But my mother was a teacher, and then when my father passed on, she went back and read law and became a lawyer. She passed on as quite high up in the Ministry of Justice. So watching her gave me a challenge, and I believe she was like a role model to me. And of course her twin sister was a medical doctor, ONG, and very well educated women in her family. So it gave me a lot of incentive. Our generation had role models to look at. That's why if you look across the nation, women achievers with brackets are really from our generation, because we had role models. But I don't know what the younger ones have today. They probably don't look up to us. I don't know. I hope we haven't failed. But also the world becoming a global village and the choice becoming so free and arbitrary. I don't know if the girl child has the same opportunities we have, because schooling has become a different kettle of fish. The system is extremely skewed, I would say. So I don't know if the girl child has the same exposure we have. It's rougher now for them, and there's this attitude that there's more to education, there's more to do. There's fashion, there's walking around, going on these films, models, whether your English is good or not, you know. That's what I see the girls look more into. They don't want to be a bit more, they don't want that foundation, they don't want it.
Where do you think that we got it wrong? Is it to say that the parents at home are leaving what their responsibilities are and chasing after other things?
The world is becoming a global village. Times are tougher. Times are much, much tougher. The life is becoming a fast lane life. So of course, you have parents, families where the husband and wife go out to work and the children are in school. They're looked after more or less by paid domestic staff, and there's nobody guiding them.
I want us to go back to your career and what it had been for you as a woman going through the tutelage or going under the tutelage of Professor of International Relations, that's Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, and some others. Did that in any way prepare you for the challenges you saw ahead of you?
Definitely. I read sociology, then did international relations. Had a stint at law, but didn't finish, and got married and worked with Professor Bolaji. He was my first experience of a boss, and he, bless him, today I thank God that I worked with him for about 5 years. Very strict, very meticulous, made me go back and of course talk to other research officers. What do we do? How do I do this? And I learned to be inquisitive about expanding my knowledge. I didn't just want to stay pushing files. What he put in me was that you can do more.
In all of those times that you were meeting these people, working with them, did it ever cross your mind that you had to do things you were not supposed to do, that some women do now to get exactly where they're at?
I think, if I know what you mean, it's the unmentionable thing.
Yes.
You as a woman and I as a woman, we are exposed to it every single day. But I will tell you, men are very interesting. All the men I've come across, especially in the maritime sector, I wouldn't say that it hasn't crossed their minds, I'm sure, but because of my approach, they dare not come up with it, or even if they do, I love them in a way that they no longer feel, oh, it's important. I think men just feel, can we conquer her? And if you let yourself get conquered, then you're exposed to mediocrity, you're down. But if you approach them and say, okay, why don't you leave that? Let's just tell me about this. I want to learn. You know, tomorrow we'll go out and have a drink. That's the way to, and a man will never force you. He will never force you. So it's a pity that some women feel they need that. I feel women who feel they need to compromise themselves don't have anything to offer.
Okay. That takes me to this next question. With the job that you do, your chores, the people that you have to meet, is there any time that anything had happened which had an undertone of gender discrimination? A lot of women face this on a daily basis, even though it's subtle in the ways that they come at them.
I know there was once I was asked to chair a session, and it was high net worth. It was in the oil and gas sector, and it was a big 2-3 day affair. And one of the sessions I was asked to chair it, and some of the discussants didn't really like the idea that they were going to be chaired by me, but they didn't say it. They didn't act it on that day, but they said it. But of course, I just ignored it. And of course, when I got to know, what I did was I reached out immediately and said, I'm scared. You better guide me here. So of course I played on the male ego, and they felt happy. Okay dear, don't worry, we will help you. So they came, and I'll say, do you have anything to say? Yes, Madam Chairman. So I made them feel comfortable, but I still maneuvered it to suit the objective.
Talking about the issue of marriage, of course, some people, there are two schools of thoughts. You must be married to be fulfilled in life. No, you can be fulfilled without it. The pressure comes from the society, and a lot of women are facing this pressure. Is this something that is beneficial to us as women?
It's not good. It's not good. Every woman must be married, because it says in the Bible, it is not good that man should be alone. That's why he went and made a rib. Out of the rib he made what's her name? Eve. But in the case of all the women in Nigeria, most women who are looking for husbands now in Nigeria are so sophisticated, and the men are still struggling on the road looking for work.
And they're scared of coming forth.
Which woman who works in a bank or is a corporate woman will want to marry a man who doesn't have a car, who is looking tattered, his shoes are tattered, but has the potential of being somebody? When I got married, my husband didn't have anything. I had a lovely car. I think I was driving a Honda, he was driving a Volkswagen. But I saw the potential in him. And I didn't think he was a youth corper. I said, oh, this man has something in him. And we both grew together. But that doesn't happen today, because the women, I must say, are on the fast lane. I look as if I'm on the side of men. I feel I'm not on the side of men. I just feel that we're not feminine anymore. But there's that feminine touch that makes men feel protective. They scare the men away.
Okay, as we speak now, a lot of young ladies out there would like to draw strength from you. They want to draw something from your experience. What would you say life has done for you? Would you say life has been good for you or good to you? Are there any regrets? If you had the opportunity to turn back the hands of time, what would that be?
Life is good now because I've gotten to understand life. But there was a time I used to feel that I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't feel fulfilled. Every woman goes through that, and I didn't know how to understand my emotions and my desires and put them in a perspective. But when I decided to look at my life and then understand, especially God helped a lot. Getting into the Lord helped me a lot. I now saw that you have to give yourself like a vision. Where am I next year? Where am I in 2 years' time? What do I want to achieve? So my advice to young women of today is that they should please be very patient. I want them to keep looking as beautiful as they are. Thank God there's so many things in the market that makes them look beautiful. But they should actually ask God to give them the spirit of Eve, to be a woman, as opposed to being know-it-alls, you know. They should not intimidate the opposite sex anymore. And at the same time, they should not be so loose and cheap and easy to get. They should always play hard to get, always, at the cost of losing a husband, a potential husband. If a man comes to you, do not sleep with him that day. In fact, don't sleep with him at all. Let him look for you. It's not easy,
it's not easy.
But it works.
It's not easy. The late Bimba Odukoya used to say, don't even think about it.
Don't, just tell the guy, look, I'm not a mattress. Okay. You can't just come, I'm not Vono. You can't sleep on me and go away. You know, you either, if you want it, you have to declare. So, you know, let's be friends. Let's bond. Because if we have sex together, it'll cloud my relationship. I won't see you properly anymore. I will be so physically attracted. I will not understand you and you will not understand me. If you really want to see, if you tell a man that, there are men here, I mean, ask them. They will say, this girl is different too. Yeah. You mean a whole me? I'm asking her, she's not agree. Even if you sparked his ego, he will do everything on earth, even carry wine for you to make sure he sleeps with you. That's how men are. Listen, girl, I'm telling you now, I'm experienced, I've been down that road you're going through. It looks bleak, it looks difficult. How can you fight them off, especially if you're beautiful? But just keep on keeping on and be yourself. Try to be as feminine. Read as many books that will teach you how to be a woman. Read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. That's a fantastic book. And also The Woman of Virtue in Proverbs 31. And you will reach the sky and it'll be the beginning of your limit. God bless you.
Well, that's